This is an example of the TSI 7575 as supplied by TechRentals. Now the kit contains, we've got a stand, this is the probe, there's a calibration tube which is not used, it's just if you need to do a single gas, provides input point for the gas there, etc. It's not really used. Power supply, data is all supplied on a USB memory stick now because a lot of people don't have CD-ROMs, spare batteries and a USB cable, and hidden carefully in the back here is the manual. There's the calibration accessory, the certificate, etc., and we've got the manual if you need it. Now to set the instrument up and get it going, it's just simply a matter of taking the instrument. We've got to plug the probe in. Right, we turn this instrument on, we've connected the probe. Now this instrument will measure temperature, humidity, RH, also the barometric pressure, CO2 and carbon monoxide, CO. CO is useful for determining whether or not you've got problem issues with air from car parks, etc. Now at the moment this instrument is set up as displaying RH as the main figure. Now we can change how this menu is operating very easily here. We hit the menu key, then I hit enter to go into display setup. Now I want to make CO2 as the primary display, so I hit primary display. Now we don't need to show dew point or wet bulb, we're happy with everything else. Now I go enter to save it, and now I go escape to go back. Now you notice it's got CO2, temperature, humidity, carbon monoxide and the air pressure. Now the CO2 level at 593 is reasonably acceptable. Inside an office environment. Now if you happen to get CO2 levels get to 1000, I'll start feeling quite sleepy, and if they get to 1200 I'll be yawning and really needing a coffee. So it's a very useful measure determining air quality. So we'll just go through setting up data logging with this, because if I stand too close to it I'll get a much higher CO2 measurement because my breathing will cause that. Now in order to get the data logging going on this, it's simply a matter of hitting the menu key here, coming down to the data logging. I'm using the down arrow, there's data logging here. Now the log mode we select is continuous time, so it will select it'll do log continuously on a time basis. Now the logger settings are set here. Now the time interval, at the moment that's set to every minute, it'll take a reading. We can jump from one field to the next by using these function keys and changing the value. So if we wanted to change it to a 2-minute reading, I would set it to 2, I use the up arrow. Now I'll push enter to save those changes. Now the interval time, the test length, if we wanted to measure it for a week, for example, 7 days. And we go, now we go enter. Now I can change the days, hours and minutes appropriately, and I push enter to save the changes. Now I've modified that to 2-minute intervals for 7 days. Now I hit escape to get out of there. Now I hit escape again and escape. Now I'm back to the standard menu. Now I simply push enter, and now it's logging, and you can see it counting down. It's got a 2-minute interval, and it will log the readings inside this room. Now in this case, because I haven't put AC power on it, it will run out of battery, so you wouldn't leave it for 7 days. But if you're doing an hour measurement, etc., that's where you'd run it off batteries. But to run it for a couple of days, you'd need some batteries. I'm going to set this up and just measure humidity readings for a little bit, for a different period. Now I've stopped this. I've hit escape, that's turned around, turned the data logging off. Now one of the other things you can do is you can disable the keyboard if necessary, but I'm going to turn the data logging on continuous time, logger settings. Now in this case interval again, I'm going to set it to 30 seconds. So here we go. So up to every 20 seconds will do. There we go. Enter, we save that, and the test length is going to be, instead of 7 days, I'm going to now set it down to 15 minutes. So there we are over here, and we can see what the readings look like after 15 minutes. Enter, we've saved the changes. Now hit escape, escape, escape. Now enter to start recording. So now we'll continuously record and we'll look at what those results look like. Having captured some data using the Q-Trak GSI 7575, we now need to download it. And it boots up. Now the program that you need to run is auto run here. Double click on that. Now it asks whether or not we've got a 64-bit or 32-bit operating system. To confirm that, just simply go back to the Explorer window, scroll down to where you can see your PC. Simply come down and left click on properties there. I right click, then left clicked. We see the fact that we're using a 64-bit operating system here, system type 64-bit operating system. So we will now select, come back to here, I select the 64-bit operating system here. And the installer starts running. Next, accept the license agreement. Note where this the folder it's installed on, and the installation begins. Right, it's successfully been installed. We close it. Now we need to run. I'll just close this down. Now we need to run the software. So I, in this instance, I'll click on my Windows button. One new application installed, select that. I need to scroll through to the Track Pro software, which is up here somewhere. It's Track Pro, there we are, the new. Run that. Now the software's run up. Now I need to plug the instrument in. So I plug the USB into the USB cable into the instrument, plug the cable, the instrument in. Now I'm going to turn the instrument on. Now it will install the driver and should install properly, etc. Now you should be able to see under communications here, you should see that the instrument is present and we can test it, etc. Close that off. Now if that hasn't worked properly, what we'll need to do is go back to here, and you'll see that the what we'll notice is that again we go back to the PC. In this case we left click on manage and come up with device manager, and it's installed properly. It's down here, and what you'll notice is it's under the USB. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing there. You'll notice that it'll be present. It'll have a large exclamation mark. Well, what you'll need to do is to right click on it and go to the properties and driver, update driver, and what you will do is browse the computer for the driver, and you browse to the directory where the software installed, and it'll install properly from there. In this case it's also installed properly. Right, now we've connected to the instrument. We just check the communications. Yeah, that's all fine. Clicked on file, receive data. And here's the data that was collected. So I'm going to receive all. It's all downloaded from the instrument. Here it is here. Now if you wish to, there's a summary of the information with the average, max, min of each of the readings. We can also create a new graph. Yes, we put whatever name, subtitle, etc. I'm going to select all readings in this case. I click on OK. There's the readings. You can see what happened here is the fact that I actually started logging and left the room, and the CO2 levels started to drop. Now if you wish to export the information such that you can then subsequently load it into Excel for various reporting functions, etc., we can export test data using here. If we put it out as a comma separated file, very simple to import into Excel. Very powerful, simple package to use. It's a very powerful, simple instrument. It provides some extremely useful measurements. CO2 particularly is useful in terms of office productivity, etc. You don't want people falling asleep. Thank you very much.
PT Maju Selaras Instrumindo, Supplier, Service, Environment Laboratory and Industrial Instruments.